Three things died on the same Tuesday: my marriage, my business, and the part of me that believed in second chances. I'm standing in what used to be my office, watching some repo guy load my excavator onto his truck like it's a toy. 20 years of building Marcus Kane construction, and this clown's treating my equipment like garage sale leftovers. "You Marcus Kane?" he asks, not looking up from his clipboard. "Used to be." My phone buzzes. Divorce papers, officially served. Sarah's taken everything. The house, the business account, even my dog. But here's the kicker that really gets me. Security footage from my neighbor shows my wife using my custom Dodge Ram to drive her boyfriend Daniel to job interviews. Not just any job interviews. Interviews with my competitors. The same Daniel who's been feeding company secrets to those competitors for months. The same Daniel I hired because Sarah said he was just a friend from college going through hard times. Turns out the only hard time he was going through was deciding which of my clients to screw over first. "Sign here," the repo guy says. I sign. What else am I gonna do? Fight over a bunch of metal that belongs to the bank now anyway. But here's what Sarah doesn't know about me, what she never bothered to learn in 8 years of marriage. I survived 3 tours in Afghanistan by being smarter than the guys trying to kill me. And honey, you just made their list look like a children's birthday party. I walked to my truck, well, what used to be my truck before she decided to use it as her personal Uber service for her boyfriend's career advancement. There's something in the glove compartment that wasn't there this morning. A USB drive. I plug it into my laptop right there in the parking lot. "Hey, baby, he's gone for the day." Sarah's voice comes through crystal clear. "Yeah, the office is empty. Bring the camera, we can get photos of the Henderson project files." Daniel's voice. "Did you get him to sign the loan papers?" "God, yes, he was so out of it this morning. I think the extra Xanax in his coffee is working. He couldn't even read straight during that client meeting." I sit there for a full minute, listening to my wife and her boyfriend laugh about drugging me. "Marcus looked pathetic yesterday," Sarah continues, shaking during the presentation like some kind of basket case. Mrs. Henderson actually asked if he was having a breakdown. "Perfect. Once his reputation's shot, we can swoop in with our company. I already have 3 of his clients ready to jump ship." What about the PTSD angle? Even better. Who's gonna trust their construction project to some unstable vet who can't keep his hands steady? I turn off the recording. 23 minutes of my wife and her boyfriend planning to destroy everything I built, using my own trauma against me. But they made one critical mistake. They forgot that unstable vets know how to plan operations too. "Kane Construction, this is Marcus." Old habits die hard. Even though there's no construction left to manage, I keep answering the phone like I'm still in business. "Marcus, it's Tony Castellano. I heard about everything. I'm sorry, man." Tony runs the biggest electrical contracting outfit in the city. We've worked together for 15 years. "Yeah, well, shit happens, right? Listen, something weird's going on. That new company, Henderson and Associates, they're underbidding everyone by 30%. Nobody can compete with that." Henderson and Associates? Yeah, run by some guy named Daniel Morrison and a woman named Sarah Kane. Any relation? I almost laugh. You could say that. Marcus, these people somehow know exactly what everyone else is bidding, down to the penny. It's like they have inside information on every project in town. Interesting. What else you know about them? They're throwing money around like they hit the lottery. Fancy office downtown, brand new equipment, the works. Word is they're backed by some investors from Denver. After I hang up, I make a few more calls. My old army buddy Jake runs a private investigation firm now. "Jake, I need a favor." "Marcus, heard you were going through some shit. What do you need?" "Background check on Daniel Morrison. And dig deep, I mean criminal history, financial records, previous addresses, everything." "This about Sarah?" Among other things. Give me 48 hours. Next call goes to my accountant. Rita, I need you to trace every transaction from the business account over the past 6 months. Marcus, I already gave you those records for the divorce. I need more detail. Every check, every transfer, every withdrawal, and I want to know where the money went after it left my account. That could take some time. I've got nothing but time now. 2 days later, Jake calls back. You sitting down, brother? Shoot. Daniel Morrison doesn't exist. Well, he does, but not the way you think. Real name's Daniel Kovach. He's got arrests in Colorado and Nevada for wire fraud and identity theft. And Marcus? He's done this before. What do you mean? Same pattern. Targets married business owners, seduces the wife, destroys the business from the inside, then disappears with the assets. He and your wife aren't his first partnership. My grip tightens on the phone. Keep going. There's a Rebecca Torres in Colorado Springs. Lost her family's roofing company the exact same way 3 years ago. Her husband committed suicide when he found out. Jesus. There's more. In Nevada, a guy named Pete Yamamoto lost his landscaping business. Same MO wife starts acting strange, new boyfriend gets hired, company secrets get leaked, business collapses. Where's Pete now? County morgue, apparent suicide. I'm quiet for a long moment. Marcus, you still there? Yeah, send me everything you have on Rebecca Torres and the Nevada case. What are you planning? Nothing illegal. That's not what I'm worried about. Jake, these people killed 2 men and destroyed God knows how many families. You really think I'm the bad guy here? Just be careful, okay? And call me if you need backup. That evening, I drive past Sarah and Daniel's new apartment. Luxury complex downtown, valet parking, the works. My money paid for this. My life's work is financing their celebration. I park across the street and watch Daniel pull up in a brand new BMW. My wife comes down to meet him, wearing a dress that costs more than most people make in a week. They're laughing about something as they walk inside. Probably me. I take photos with my phone, noting the license plate, the building address, their body language. Old habits from military intelligence work. Always gather information before you make a move. My phone rings. Unknown number. Hello? Is this Marcus Kane? Woman's voice, unfamiliar. Depends who's asking. My name is Rebecca Torres. I think we need to talk. Rebecca Torres and I meet at a diner outside town. She's late 30s, tired eyes, but there's steel underneath. The kind of person who's been through hell and came out harder for it. You look better than I expected, she says, sliding into the booth across from me. Thanks. The men Daniel and Sarah target usually don't last long. My husband, Dave, he couldn't handle it when he realized what had happened. I'm sorry about your husband. Don't be sorry. Be angry. That's what's kept me going for 3 years. She slides a manila folder across the table. Everything I have on Daniel Kovach, Sarah Kane, and their operation. Bank records, photos, recorded conversations, emails. I've been building a case. Why haven't you gone to the police? I tried. Want to know what they told me? Ma'am, it sounds like a civil matter. Maybe you should talk to a lawyer. Her laugh is bitter. By the time I figured out what happened, they were long gone with our money. I flipped through the folder. Photos of Daniel with different women in different cities. Bank statements showing the same pattern, money flowing out of victim accounts into shell companies. Email chains between Sarah and Daniel going back 4 years. They've been working together a lot longer than I thought, I say. Sarah's not just another victim who got seduced. She's a full partner, maybe even the brains of the operation. One email catches my eye. Sarah to Daniel. The Kane job is perfect. Military background means probable PTSD. Easy to manipulate with anxiety meds. Plus, he's got government contracts worth millions. Son of a bitch. What? I show her the email. They researched me. This wasn't random. They targeted me specifically. Of course they did. You think it's coincidence that Sarah happened to meet you at that veterans charity event? She was hunting. My blood goes cold. I met Sarah at a fundraiser for wounded warriors. She was volunteering, seemed genuinely interested in helping vets. We talked for hours about my experiences overseas, my struggles adjusting to civilian life. All of it was a setup. How many others? I ask. That I know of? 7 families destroyed, 3 suicides, millions stolen. Rebecca leans forward. But here's the thing. They're getting sloppy, overconfident. They think they're untouchable. What are you proposing? I've been in contact with Detective Lisa Chen at Denver PD. Her brother was one of their victims. She can't work the case officially, but she's been helping me gather evidence. And? We need someone with your skill set. Military intelligence, right? You know how to run operations. I study her face. What kind of operations? The kind that puts them in federal prison where they belong. My phone buzzes. Text from Sarah. Heard about the business. I'm sorry things worked out this way. Maybe we can talk. I show Rebecca the message. She's fishing, Rebecca says. Probably worried you're suspicious. I type back. Don't see what there is to talk about. You made your choice. Sarah responds immediately. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. Daniel and I, it just happened. But I still care about you. Manipulative bitch, Rebecca mutters, reading over my shoulder. Marcus, can I meet you somewhere? I want to explain. I look at Rebecca. What do you think? I think Sarah Kane is about to learn that some people can't be manipulated twice. I type, tomorrow, the Starbucks on 5th Street, 2 p.m. Perfect, Rebecca says. I'll be watching from across the street with a directional microphone. Whatever she says, we'll have it recorded. What if she doesn't say anything incriminating? Rebecca smiles, and for the first time, it reaches her eyes. Trust me, people like Sarah can't help themselves. They always have to gloat. I arrive at Starbucks 15 minutes early and pick a table near the window. Rebecca's positioned across the street in a parked van, surveillance equipment ready. My phone is recording, and I've got a backup recorder in my jacket pocket. Sarah walks in at exactly 2 p.m., looking like she's dressed for a job interview. Conservative business suit, minimal makeup, the whole innocent act. She spots me and hesitates for just a second before walking over. Marcus, thank you for agreeing to see me. Sit down, Sarah. She orders a latte, extra foam, 2 sugars, just like she always did. Some habits don't change, even when you're rebuilding your entire identity. You look good, she says, settling into the chair across from me. Cut the shit, what do you want? I wanted to apologize. The way things ended between us. It wasn't fair to you. Fair? I lean back in my chair. You cleaned out our business account, forged my signature on loan documents, and used my truck to drive your boyfriend to job interviews with my competitors. Which part of that was supposed to be fair? She has the decency to look embarrassed. It wasn't supposed to go that far. How far was it supposed to go? I don't know. Daniel said we could start fresh, build something together. I got caught up in the excitement. Daniel said. I nod slowly. Interesting choice of words. What do you mean? Nothing. Tell me about this new business of yours. Her face lights up. She can't help herself. Henderson and Associates. We're doing really well. Already landed 3 major contracts. Congratulations. Where'd you get the startup capital? Investors. Daniel has connections. Must be nice having connections. Marcus, I want you to know that taking the money from the business account, I didn't want to do that. But Daniel said we needed operating capital to get started. Daniel said. I repeated again. You know, for someone who's supposedly in love, you sure let this guy make a lot of decisions for you. She bristles. It's not like that. What's it like, then? We're partners, equal partners. In business and in bed? Marcus, don't be crude. I'm curious about something, I say, pulling out my phone. You remember Mrs. Henderson? From the Henderson Group? Of course. She called me yesterday. Said something interesting. Apparently, the day before our meeting with her, someone called her office asking detailed questions about our bid. Someone claiming to be from the city planning department. Sarah's face goes pale. Here's the weird part, I continue. The city planning department has no record of anyone making that call. I don't know what you're implying. I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. I lean forward. You want to know what else Mrs. Henderson told me? She said I seemed impaired during our presentation. Shaky hands, difficulty concentrating. Almost like I was on medication. You were under a lot of stress. Was I? Or was someone putting extra Xanax in my coffee? Sarah stands up abruptly. I think this conversation is over. Sit down, Sarah. Something in my voice makes her freeze. Maybe it's the tone I used to use with insurgents who thought they could lie to me. I said, sit down. She sits. Let me tell you what I think happened, I say calmly. I think you and Daniel have been planning this for months, maybe years. I think you researched me, found out about my PTSD, and decided I'd be an easy mark. I think you've done this before to other families. That's insane. Is it? Because I've been talking to Rebecca Torres in Colorado. Remember her? Her husband, Dave? Sarah's hands start shaking. Dave Torres put a gun in his mouth after you and Daniel destroyed his business. His kids found the body. I don't know what you're talking about. And Pete Yamamoto in Nevada, pills in his case, left a note saying he couldn't live with the shame. Marcus, you're scaring me. Good, you should be scared. I slide a photo across the table. It's Daniel with another woman, clearly from several years ago. This is Daniel with Linda Yamamoto, Pete's wife. Look familiar? Sarah stares at the photo. Here's another one. I show her a second photo. Daniel with Rebecca Torres, and another with Carol Patterson from Phoenix. Recognize the pattern? I need to go. You know what's interesting about patterns? Once you see them, you can't unsee them. And once federal investigators see them... I shrug. Well, let's just say wire fraud across state lines carries a 20-year sentence. Sarah's phone buzzes. She glances at it. Text from Daniel. He's wondering where you are, isn't he? She nods barely. Tell him you're still talking to me. Tell him I'm buying the story about it just happening between you two. Why would I do that? Because, Sarah, you're about to find out the difference between targeting some small-time contractor and fucking with someone who spent 3 years hunting killers in Afghanistan. I stand up and drop a $5 bill on the table. Give Daniel my regards. And Sarah, next time you decide to drug someone's coffee, make sure they don't have friends who know how to run lab tests on coffee grounds. I walk out, leaving her sitting there with her untouched latte and a look of pure terror on her face. Rebecca's voice comes through my earpiece. Jesus, Marcus, that was beautiful. Did you get it all? Every word, and the look on her face when you mentioned the federal investigators, priceless. Phase 1 complete. Now let's see how they react. That evening, I'm in my apartment, the shitty one-bedroom I moved into after Sarah took the house, when my phone rings. Daniel. Marcus, we need to talk. Do we? Sarah told me about your conversation today. I think there's been some misunderstandings. Such as? You seem to think Sarah and I planned what happened between us. That's not true? Okay. Long pause. He wasn't expecting me to agree so easily. Okay. Sure, shit happens, right? People fall in love. It's not like you held a gun to her head and forced her to empty my business account. Another pause. Right, exactly. Although I am curious about one thing. What's that? How'd you know to underbid everyone else on those contracts? We did our research, market analysis, that kind of thing. Market analysis? Got it. I'm walking around my apartment as we talk, checking for bugs. Paranoid habit from overseas. So it had nothing to do with having access to other companies' bids? Of course not. That would be illegal. Right, illegal. I pause, looking out my window. There's a car parked across the street that wasn't there this morning. Dark sedan, tinted windows. Daniel, can I ask you something? Sure. You ever been to Colorado? Silence. Daniel? Why would you ask that? Just curious. Sarah mentioned you guys might expand operations there. We haven't made any definite plans. What about Nevada? This time the silence stretches longer. Marcus, what are you getting at? Nothing specific, just wondering about your background. Sarah's always been vague about where exactly you came from. I moved here from Chicago. Chicago? Interesting. What kind of work did you do there? Construction management. Which company? It was a small firm. You wouldn't know it. Try me. I know a lot of people in the industry. Listen, Marcus, I don't think this conversation is productive. You're probably right. But Daniel? Word of advice from one businessman to another? What? You might want to be more careful about your research methods. There are federal laws about corporate espionage, wire fraud, RICO violations, that sort of thing. I'd hate to see you and Sarah get in trouble over some misunderstanding. I hang up before he can respond. 30 seconds later, my phone rings again. Sarah this time. Marcus, what did you say to Daniel? He's freaking out. I just gave him some friendly business advice. He thinks you're threatening us. Am I? Are you... Sarah, I'm a disabled veteran living in a one-bedroom apartment. My business is gone, my marriage is over, and I'm driving a 15-year-old pickup truck. What exactly do you think I could threaten you with? I don't know. You're acting strange. Strange how? You're too calm. The Marcus I know would be screaming and throwing things. Maybe the Marcus you knew was being chemically altered by someone putting anxiety medication in his coffee. Silence. How did you know about that? Lucky guess. Marcus, I can explain. I'm sure you can. But here's the thing, Sarah, I don't actually want an explanation. I want you and Daniel to enjoy your new business while it lasts. What do you mean? I mean, business is unpredictable. One day you're on top of the world, the next day you're watching repo men load your equipment onto trucks. Funny how that works. I hang up and immediately dial Rebecca. They're spooked, I tell her. Good, what's next? We escalate. You still have that contact at the Denver Post? Yeah, crime reporter named Williams. He's been following Daniel's trail. Set up a meeting. It's time to go public. You sure, once this hits the news, there's no going back? Rebecca, these people killed your husband. They've destroyed how many families? There was never going to be any going back. The next morning, I wake up to find my apartment door slightly ajar. I know I locked it. I always lock it. Military habit. I draw the Glock from my nightstand and clear each room methodically. Nothing's missing, but someone's been here. My laptop's been moved slightly. Papers on my desk are in a different order. They're getting desperate. I call Rebecca. They broke into my place last night. Are you okay? Fine, but they're escalating. How soon can you get that reporter here? This afternoon if you want. Do it. And Rebecca, call Detective Chen. Tell her we might need police protection soon. You think they'll try something violent? I think Daniel's realized he's facing federal prison time, and men facing federal prison time do stupid things. As if on cue, my phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. Back off or you'll end up like Dave Torres and Pete Yamamoto. I screenshot the message and send it to Rebecca. Getting interesting, I mutter to myself. But here's what Daniel doesn't understand about threats. You don't threaten someone who's already lost everything. You've got nothing left to take from them. And you definitely don't threaten someone who spent 3 years in a war zone. I text back, looking forward to meeting you in person. Let's see how tough he is when he's not hiding behind fake identities and other people's wives. The meeting with journalist Williams takes place at Rebecca's hotel room. She's been staying in town for a week now, and her presence is clearly making Sarah and Daniel nervous. Williams is a thin guy with wire-rim glasses and the kind of intensity that comes from years of digging up dirt on corrupt politicians and white-collar criminals. So you're saying this is part of a larger pattern? He asks, reviewing the documents we've spread across the hotel bed. 7 families that we know of, Rebecca says. Probably more we haven't found yet. And you have evidence of the pattern? I hand him the USB drive. Recorded conversations between Sarah and Daniel discussing their methods, plus bank records showing identical money movements in each case. Williams plugs the drive into his laptop and listens to a few minutes of audio. Jesus! They're laughing about drugging you? That's just the appetizer, I say. Keep listening. He fast-forwards through more recordings. Sarah and Daniel discussing how to make me look unstable in front of clients. Planning to have me committed to a psychiatric facility if I got too suspicious. Joking about veterans being easy marks because of PTSD. This is enough for a front-page story, Williams says finally. When can you publish? Tomorrow morning. But you realize once this goes public, they'll know it came from you two. Rebecca and I exchange glances. We're counting on it, I say. That evening, I'm making dinner, if you can call heating up a frozen burrito making dinner, when someone knocks on my door. Not a normal knock. The kind of aggressive pounding that means trouble. I check the peephole. Daniel? He's alone, but he looks agitated. Probably high on something. I open the door with my hand resting on the grip of my Glock. We need to talk, he says, pushing past me into the apartment. Make yourself at home. He spins around to face me, and I can see the sweat on his forehead, the dilated pupils. Definitely high. You've been busy, he says. Have I? Talking to reporters, digging into things that aren't your business? Everything you and Sarah did to me is my business. You don't understand the situation you're in. I close the door and lean against it. Enlighten me. There are people involved in this who don't like loose ends. What people? Investors. People who've put serious money into our operations. Operations, plural? He realizes he's said too much. The drugs are making him sloppy. Daniel, let me ask you something. How many families have you and Sarah destroyed? I don't know what you're talking about. Dave Torres, Pete Yamamoto, Carol Patterson's husband in Phoenix. What was his name again? You need to back off. Or what? You'll stage my suicide like you did theirs? His hand moves toward his jacket pocket. I draw my Glock faster than he can blink. Easy there, killer. He freezes with his hand halfway to his pocket. Slowly, I say. 2 fingers. Pull out whatever you were reaching for. He produces a small pistol. Cheap Saturday night special. Drop it. The gun hits the floor. Now kick it away. He complies. Sit down on the couch. He sits. I can see him trying to calculate his options, but the drugs are slowing his thinking. Here's what's going to happen, I tell him. You're going to answer some questions. And if you lie to me, I'm going to hurt you. Understand? He nods. How many families? I don't keep count. Wrong answer. I step forward and crack him across the face with the barrel of my pistol. His nose starts bleeding. How many families? 12, maybe 15. How many suicides? I don't know. That wasn't part of the plan? But it kept happening. Some people can't handle the truth about themselves. I hit him again, harder this time. Wrong answer. Try again. Look, the suicides weren't our fault. We just took some money. We didn't force anyone to kill themselves. You destroyed their lives, their reputations, their ability to provide for their families. That's business. This time I put the gun away and hit him with my fist. He falls sideways on the couch, blood streaming from his mouth. Let's try a different approach, I say. Tell me about the investors. I can't. You can't or you won't? They'll kill me. Daniel, look around. You broke into my apartment. You threatened me. You brought a gun. Right now, they're the least of your problems. My phone rings. Rebecca. Marcus, there's been a development. Detective Chen just called. They found Sarah's body. I look at Daniel. His face has gone white. What? He whispers. Apparent suicide, Rebecca continues. She left a note confessing to everything. Says she couldn't live with the guilt. Daniel starts hyperventilating. Rebecca, I'll call you back. I hang up and study Daniel's face. You killed her, I say. No, I didn't. She was supposed to… He stops himself. She was supposed to what? Nothing. Daniel, your girlfriend is dead. The police think it's suicide, but we both know better, don't we? I want a lawyer. You're not under arrest. This is just a conversation between two businessmen. Please, I'll tell you everything. Just don't hurt me anymore. I sit down across from him. Start talking. Sarah wasn't supposed to die, Daniel says, holding a bloody towel to his nose. That wasn't the plan. What was the plan? We were supposed to disappear. New identities, clean start somewhere else. But she started getting paranoid after you talked to her at Starbucks. Paranoid about what? About getting caught. About federal prison. She wanted to make a deal with the FBI. So you killed her. No, I mean, not directly. I made sure she wouldn't talk. How? Pentobarbital in her wine. She just went to sleep. I typed the suicide note on her laptop afterwards. I stare at him. You murdered your girlfriend and staged it as a suicide. It wasn't murder. It was damage control. Like Dave Torres and Pete Yamamoto? That was different. They actually killed themselves. After you and Sarah drove them to it. After they couldn't handle the consequences of their poor business decisions. I stand up and walk to the window. My mind is racing. If Sarah's dead and Daniel's here confessing to me, that means… Daniel, who else knows you're here? Nobody. Bullshit. You said there were investors. People who don't like loose ends. He doesn't answer. They sent you here to kill me, didn't they? No? And then what? Stage it as a murder-suicide? Grieving husband kills the man who stole his wife, then turns the gun on himself? His silence confirms it. The only problem with that plan, I continue, is that you're high as a kite and you brought a piece of shit Saturday night special to a gunfight with a Marine. My phone rings. Unknown number. Answer it, Daniel says. Put it on speaker. I do. Marcus Kane? The voice is smooth, professional, East Coast accent. Speaking. My name is Vincent Torino. I believe you have something that belongs to me. I look at Daniel. He's nodding frantically. What might that be? I ask. Daniel Kovac. He's been conducting business on my behalf, and I understand he's currently in your apartment. He is? I'd like him back. I'm not sure that's possible. Mr. Kane, perhaps you don't understand the situation. Daniel works for some very serious people. People who have invested considerable resources in his operations. What kind of operations? Identity theft, wire fraud, corporate espionage, the kind of business that generates substantial revenue when conducted properly. And when it's not conducted properly? Well, that's why I'm calling. Daniel has become careless. He's attracted attention from law enforcement. He's compromised our entire network. I'm recording the call on my phone, hoping the audio quality is good enough. So, what do you want from me? I want you to walk away. Forget about Daniel, forget about Sarah, forget about everything that's happened to you. In exchange, I'll make sure you're compensated for your losses. How much compensation? $500,000, cash, untraceable. And if I don't take the deal? Then you'll join Sarah in the obituaries, and it won't look like suicide. Daniel is staring at me, waiting to see what I'll do. Mr. Torino, can I ask you something? What? How many families has your network destroyed? I don't concern myself with details like that. Because I've been doing some research. Dave Torres, Pete Yamamoto, Robert Patterson in Phoenix, Michael Chen in Denver. All suicides after your people destroyed their businesses. Regrettable, but irrelevant to our current discussion. Here's what I think happened. You set up this whole operation to target small business owners, military veterans, family guys, people who wouldn't be likely to fight back. You steal their money, destroy their reputations, and when they can't take it anymore, they kill themselves. Clean ending, no loose ends. You have quite an imagination, Mr. Kane. The only problem is that some of us don't kill ourselves. Some of us get angry instead. Anger is a temporary emotion, Mr. Kane. Death is permanent. I look at Daniel. He's shaking his head frantically, mouthing, "Take the deal." Mr. Torino. Yes? Go fuck yourself. I hang up. Daniel stares at me in horror. Do you have any idea what you just did? Yeah, I just declared war on organized crime. They'll kill us both. Maybe. But here's the thing, Daniel, I recorded that entire conversation. Vincent Torino just confessed to running a criminal enterprise that's resulted in multiple deaths. That's RICO territory. The recording won't matter if we're dead. True. So I guess we better make sure we don't die. I call Rebecca. Change of plans, I tell her. We need Detective Chen here now, and we need federal backup. What happened? Daniel's here, and he just confessed to murdering Sarah. Plus, I've got a recorded confession from his boss about the whole operation. Holy shit. Also, they're probably going to try to kill us both in the next few hours. I'm calling Chen now. I hang up and look at Daniel. Congratulations, you just became a federal witness. I want immunity. You want to live through the night. Everything else is negotiable. Detective Chen arrives with 2 FBI agents and a tactical team. My shitty apartment is suddenly very crowded. Mr. Kane, I'm Special Agent Rodriguez, says a woman in a navy suit. Detective Chen filled us in on the situation. Good, because it's about to get complicated. I play them the recording of my conversation with Vincent Torino. Rodriguez and her partner exchange glances. This is bigger than we thought, Rodriguez says. Vincent Torino is connected to the Castellano crime family. If he's running this operation, it means we're not just dealing with small-time grifters, her partner finishes. Daniel is sitting on my couch, still holding the bloody towel to his nose, looking like he wants to disappear into the cushions. Daniel, Rodriguez says, we need you to tell us everything, and I mean everything. I want immunity. You confessed to murder. Immunity isn't on the table, but cooperation might keep you out of the electric chair. New York doesn't have the electric chair. Federal charges do. That gets his attention. The operation started 5 years ago, Daniel begins. Vincent recruited me when I got out of prison in New Jersey. I had experience with identity theft, and he needed someone who could blend in with regular people. What was your role? I was the inside man. Sarah handled the relationship side. She was good at making men fall in love with her. I handled the technical stuff, stealing information, manipulating business systems, moving money. How many operations? Dozens. We worked all over the country. Vincent would identify targets, usually small business owners with assets worth stealing. Sarah would research them, find their weaknesses. And if they fought back? Daniel glances at me. Most didn't. They'd just collapse under the pressure. Some would drink themselves to death. Others would eat a gun. But Marcus didn't, Detective Chen observes. Marcus was different. Military background, combat experience. Sarah said he'd be easy to manipulate because of PTSD, but Daniel shakes his head. We underestimated him. When did you realize you were in trouble? Rodriguez asks. When he started asking about Colorado and Nevada? Nobody was supposed to connect the different operations. We used different names, different identities in each state. My phone rings. Vincent Torino again. Rodriguez nods. I answer and put it on speaker. Mr. Kane, I trust you've had time to reconsider my offer. Actually, I have a counteroffer. I'm listening. Turn yourself in. Confess to everything. Make restitution to the families you've destroyed. Torino laughs. You have quite a sense of humor. Or I could just turn you over to the FBI agents who are standing in my living room right now. Silence. Mr. Kane, if you involve law enforcement, a lot of innocent people are going to get hurt. Like who? Like Rebecca Torres. I believe she's staying at the Marriott downtown, room 237. My blood goes cold. If anything happens to her, then you'd better think very carefully about your next move. The line goes dead. Rodriguez is already on her radio. We need units at the downtown Marriott immediately. Possible hostage situation. They're not going to hurt her, Daniel says. Rebecca's too valuable. What do you mean? She's been investigating us for 3 years. She knows everything. Bank accounts, safe houses, contact information for other victims. Vincent needs her alive so he can find out what she knows. Where would they take her? There's a warehouse in the industrial district. Vincent uses it for interrogations. Rodriguez and Chen exchange another look. Can you find this warehouse? Rodriguez asks. Yeah, but you'll need me alive to do it. Mr. Kovac, you're not in a position to negotiate. Actually, I am, because if Rebecca dies, you lose your best witness against Vincent's operation. And if I die, you lose the only person who knows where he took her. I stand up. I'm going with you. Mr. Kane, this is a federal operation, duh. That warehouse is going to be defended. You're going to need someone with tactical experience. We have tactical teams. Do you have someone who knows Vincent's people personally? Someone who's heard their voices, knows their patterns? Rodriguez considers this. What are you proposing? I go in first, alone. Draw them out while your team gets into position. That's suicide. Maybe, but it's also the best chance Rebecca has. My phone buzzes. Text message with a photo attached. Rebecca tied to a chair in what looks like a basement or warehouse. Her face is bruised, but she's alive. The message reads, "You have 1 hour." I show the photo to Rodriguez. 1 hour to do what? Probably to deliver Daniel and destroy all the evidence we've gathered. Which we're obviously not going to do. Obviously. But I'm thinking about Rebecca sitting in that chair, probably being tortured for information about what she knows. Thinking about Dave Torres and Pete Yamamoto and all the other men who died because they couldn't fight back. There's another option, I say. What's that? I give them what they want. Mr. Kane. No, listen, I take Daniel to the warehouse, make the trade. But I wire Daniel with a recording device first, get Vincent to confess everything on tape. Too risky. If they find the wire, then Rebecca dies anyway. At least this way she has a chance. Daniel looks up from the couch. You'd trust me to wear a wire? No, but I trust you to want to live. And the only way you survive this is if Vincent gets arrested. He's right, Detective Chen says. If Vincent thinks Daniel betrayed him, Daniel's dead regardless. Rodriguez thinks for a moment. We'd need extensive backup, surveillance teams, tactical units in position. Do it. And if something goes wrong, if this turns into a hostage situation? I look at the photo of Rebecca again. Then we make sure Vincent doesn't walk away either. 30 minutes later, I'm sitting in an FBI surveillance van while a technician tapes a recording device to Daniel's chest. Remember, Rodriguez tells him, we need Vincent to talk about the murders, specifically about Dave Torres and Pete Yamamoto. What if he doesn't want to talk? Then you make him want to talk. Tell him Marcus is getting close to exposing the whole operation. Make him paranoid. Daniel nods nervously. And Daniel? I add. If you try to cut a side deal with Vincent, I'll hunt you down myself. Clear, Yim? Clear? We drive toward the warehouse district in separate vehicles. I'm with Rodriguez in an unmarked car, following Daniel's van at a distance. Tactical teams are already in position around the target building. Final check, Rodriguez says into her radio. All units report ready status. Overwatch 1 in position. Tactical 2 ready. Surveillance 3 has eyes on the building. Mr. Kane, Rodriguez says to me, once we get there, you stay in the car. This is a federal operation. Understood. But we both know I'm lying. The warehouse is exactly what you'd expect. Old brick building in a rundown part of town, broken windows, graffiti on the walls. Perfect place for a criminal operation. Daniel gets out of his van and walks toward the main entrance. I can see him on the surveillance monitor, small and nervous against the big metal door. The door opens. 2 men escort Daniel inside. Audio check, Rodriguez says. Daniel's voice comes through clearly. Vincent, it's me. I brought what you wanted. Where's Kane? Outside. He thinks I'm making a trade for the woman. And the evidence he's gathered? All destroyed. Files, recordings, everything. I can hear Vincent moving around, probably checking Daniel for weapons or recording devices. You've made quite a mess, Daniel. I know, but it's contained now. Is it? Because I hear there are federal agents involved. Kane was bluffing. He's got nothing. Then why did you kill Sarah? Long pause. She was going to talk. She couldn't handle the pressure. So you handled her. I did what was necessary. Just like Dave Torres? Dave Torres killed himself. After you and Sarah drove him to it. Vincent, why are we talking about this? Because I want to make sure you understand the stakes here, Daniel. This operation has generated over $50 million in the past 5 years. 50 families destroyed, 7 suicides, millions of dollars in stolen assets. Rodriguez grins. Got him? And you nearly destroyed all of that because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. It won't happen again. No, it won't. Gunshot. Shit! Rodriguez shouts into her radio. Move! 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 The tactical teams storm the building. I'm out of the car before Rodriguez can stop me, following them through the main entrance. The warehouse is bigger inside than it looked from outside. Maze of old equipment and storage containers. I can hear shouting, footsteps echoing off concrete walls. Federal agents, drop your weapons! More gunshots. I move through the warehouse methodically, using cover, staying low. Military training kicks in automatically. I find Rebecca in a side room, still tied to the chair. She's conscious, but barely. Rebecca, hey, look at me. Marcus, what are you doing here? Rescuing you. Are you hurt? Nothing serious, but Marcus, Vincent's not here. What? That wasn't Vincent on the recording. It was one of his lieutenants. Vincent's been gone for hours. Where? I don't know, but he said something about cleaning up loose ends. My phone rings. Vincent Torino. Enjoying the show, Mr. Kane? Where are you? Somewhere safe, and I'll stay safe as long as you stay smart. What do you want? I want you to understand that this isn't over. Daniel was expendable. Sarah was expendable. Even the money from your business was expendable. Then what's the point? The point is that there are consequences for interfering with my operations. Dave Torres learned that. Pete Yamamoto learned that. Now you're going to learn it too. I'm listening. You cost me a very profitable business, so I'm going to cost you something equally valuable. Such as? Your life, Mr. Kane. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday when you least expect it, when you think you've moved on and rebuilt your life, someone's going to knock on your door, and that'll be the end of your story. I untie Rebecca's restraints while keeping the phone pressed to my ear. Vincent, let me tell you something about threats. I'm listening. You don't threaten someone who's already lost everything. You've got nothing left to take from me. Haven't I? No, see, you made the same mistake Sarah and Daniel made. You assumed that because I have PTSD, because I'm a veteran, because I've been through trauma, that makes me weak. Doesn't it? It makes me dangerous, because I'm not afraid to die, and I'm very good at killing people. Silence. 3 tours in Afghanistan, Vincent. I spent 3 years hunting people who were better armed, better funded, and better connected than you are. People who knew the terrain, had local support, and were fighting for their homeland. Your point? My point is that if you want to threaten me, you better be prepared to follow through, because the next time we meet, one of us isn't walking away. I hang up and help Rebecca to her feet. Marcus, you can't fight organized crime by yourself. Watch me. 6 months later, I'm standing in my new office, actually new this time, not a reconstruction of something I lost. Kane Construction is back, bigger and better funded than before. Vincent Torino is still out there somewhere, but his operation is finished. The FBI arrested 12 of his associates, seized millions in assets, and identified over 40 families who were victims of their schemes. Daniel's dead, Sarah's dead, and their network has been completely dismantled. The Federal Restitution Fund returned most of my stolen money, plus damages. Turns out that when you help the FBI take down a major criminal enterprise, they're pretty generous with the reward money. Rebecca's sitting across from my desk, reviewing contracts for our Colorado expansion. The Denver project is ahead of schedule, she says, and under budget. Good. What about the victim assistance program? Fully funded. We've helped 37 families so far. Kane Construction now specializes in helping other victims of financial crimes rebuild their businesses. We work with federal agencies, provide low-cost consulting services, and sometimes take equity stakes in promising rebuilds. Any word from Detective Chen? I ask. She's been promoted to lieutenant, still working financial crimes, but now she's got a whole task force dedicated to these kinds of schemes. My phone rings. Unknown number, but I recognize the area code. New York. Marcus Kane. Mr. Kane, this is Special Agent Rodriguez. I wanted to give you a heads up. About what? Vincent Torino was found dead this morning. Single gunshot to the head, execution style. I'm quiet for a moment. Any suspects? It looks like internal mob politics. Apparently, losing $50 million and having your entire operation exposed by the FBI doesn't make you popular with your business partners. I see. Thought you'd want to know. You can stop looking over your shoulder now. Appreciate the call. I hang up and look at Rebecca. She heard enough to understand. It's over? She asks. It's over. We sit in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Marcus, can I ask you something? Shoot. Do you ever regret not taking Vincent's offer? The $500,000 to walk away? I think about it. No? Why not? Because walking away would have meant Dave Torres died for nothing. Pete Yamamoto died for nothing. All those families got destroyed for nothing. And now? Now their deaths meant something. The FBI task force is named after Dave Torres. The federal legislation that came out of this case is called the Yamamoto Act. Their names are on laws that'll protect other families from going through what we went through. Rebecca smiles. You know, when I first met you, I thought you were just another angry guy looking for revenge. Wasn't I? Maybe at first, but somewhere along the way it became about justice instead. My phone buzzes. Text message from an unknown number. Mr. Kane, my name is Jennifer Walsh. My husband committed suicide last month after losing our business in what I now think was a scam, similar to what happened to you. Could we talk? I show the message to Rebecca. Another one, she says. Another one. What do you want to do? I'm already typing a response. Mrs. Walsh, I'm sorry for your loss. Yes, we should talk. Can you come to my office tomorrow? Same thing we always do, I tell Rebecca. We help. 2 years later, I'm standing in the parking lot of the federal courthouse in Denver, watching Vincent Torino's former associates get sentenced. The last of them just got 25 years. Rebecca's beside me, along with Detective Lieutenant Chen now, and about 30 other family members whose lives were destroyed by the network. That's all of them, Chen says. Every single person connected to the operation. What about the money? Full restitution to all victims, plus damages. The Federal Asset Forfeiture Fund is distributing almost $60 million. A woman approaches us, Jennifer Walsh, the widow who contacted me 2 years ago. She's got her teenage son with her. Mr. Kane, I wanted to thank you again. No need to thank me. Yes, there is. Getting justice for Tom, it gave us closure, and the money from the restitution fund meant my son could stay in college. Her son extends his hand. Mr. Kane, I'm studying criminal justice now, because of what you and my mom did. Good for you. I want to work for the FBI someday. Help other families like you helped us. I shake his hand. The Bureau needs good people. After they leave, Rebecca and I walk to my truck. The same custom Dodge Ram that Sarah used to drive Daniel to job interviews. I had it completely rebuilt. New engine, new interior, new paint job. It's the same truck, but different. Like me. You ever think about what would have happened if you'd just accepted what they did to you? Rebecca asks. You mean if I'd just taken the loss and moved on? Yeah. Every day. And every day I'm glad I didn't. Why? Because accepting injustice doesn't make you noble. It makes you an enabler. We drive back toward my office in comfortable silence. Kane Construction now has locations in 6 states, employs over 200 people, and has helped rebuild more than 100 businesses that were destroyed by various scams. But more than that, we've prevented dozens of other families from going through what we went through. The Yamamoto Act requires federal background checks for anyone handling business finances. The Torres Foundation provides legal assistance to small business owners who suspect they're being defrauded. My phone rings. Detective Lieutenant Chen. Marcus, we've got another one. What's the situation? Family-owned restaurant in Phoenix. Husband's business partner disappeared with their money. Wife found out the partner was having an affair with her sister. Husbands talking about suicide. Text me the details. Already did. I pull over and check my messages. Same pattern. Seduction, betrayal, financial destruction, psychological manipulation. How soon can you be in Phoenix? Chen asks. Tonight. And Rebecca? She's with me. Good. This one's going to need both of you. After I hang up, Rebecca looks at me. Another one, she says. Another one. You know, most people would have moved on by now, built their new life, and tried to forget what happened. Most people aren't us. No, they're not. I start the truck and head toward the airport. Marcus, can I ask you something? Always. Do you think we'll ever really be done with this? I mean, there's always going to be another Vincent Torino, another Daniel and Sarah. Probably. Doesn't that bother you? I think about Dave Torres, who put a gun in his mouth because he couldn't live with the shame of being fooled. About Pete Yamamoto, who overdosed on pills because he thought he'd failed his family. About all the other victims who chose death over fighting back. No, I say finally. It doesn't bother me. Why not? Because every family we save is a victory. Every scammer we put in prison is a victory. Every law that gets passed because of our work is a victory. Even if we can't save them all? Especially if we can't save them all. That's what makes the ones we do save matter. Rebecca's quiet for a long moment. You know what Sarah said to me that day at Starbucks? She said you were too calm, that the Marcus she knew would be screaming and throwing things. Yeah, so she was right. You're not the same person who was married to her. Good. The Marcus who was married to Sarah would have either killed himself or killed them. Probably. But this Marcus figured out how to turn his anger into something useful. I think about that as we drive. She's right. I'm not the same person who stood in that empty office watching repo men load my equipment onto trucks. That Marcus was broken, defeated, ready to give up. This Marcus knows better. Rebecca? Yeah? You remember what I told Vincent Torino on the phone? About not being afraid to die? I remember. I lied. About what? I am afraid to die, but not for the reason you'd think. What's the reason? I'm afraid to die because there's still work to do, families to save, bad guys to catch, justice to deliver. And when all that's done? I laugh. When all that's done, I'll probably find some new kind of work that needs doing. Such as? I don't know. Teaching other people how to fight back, maybe. Running for office. Starting a foundation. Or maybe I'll just go fishing. You hate fishing. I hate fishing now. Maybe I'll learn to like it. We arrive at the airport as the sun's setting. Our flight to Phoenix leaves in 2 hours. Time enough to review the case files, plan our approach, figure out how to save another family from going through what we went through. In the terminal, Rebecca buys coffee while I read through the police reports. Same story, different details. Trust betrayed, life destroyed, family shattered. You ready for this? Rebecca asks, handing me a cup. Always. Even though we might not be able to save them? Especially because we might not be able to save them. She sits down beside me. You know what I think? What? I think Sarah was wrong about more than just your reaction. How so? She thought PTSD made you weak, but it didn't make you weak. It made you dangerous. To bad guys, anyway. No, to the idea that victims have to stay victims. I consider that as we board the plane. Maybe she's right. Maybe the best revenge isn't getting even. It's refusing to let someone else's evil define your life. Sarah used my car to drive her boyfriend to job interviews with my competitors. But in the end, I used my legs to walk away from everything she represented. The lies, the manipulation, the idea that some people are just victims and have to accept it. I walked away from being a victim, but I never stopped being a hunter. The plane takes off into the desert sunset, carrying us toward another family that needs help. Another chance to turn someone's worst day into the beginning of their comeback story. That's the thing about walking away. Sometimes you're not walking away from the fight. Sometimes you're walking toward a bigger one. And sometimes that's exactly where you need to be.